Um, Let us explore the hidden secrets to perfect meditation. Most miss these. Together as a team, let us relaxingly recite. Nothing dispels the disinformation, mythology, misinformation, and let's try this again. Nothing dispels the disinformation, misinformation, mythology, and superstition surrounding mindfulness and meditation, quite like neuroscience. Let's begin by considering mindfulness. Whoops, wrong button. Sorry, kids. Every time we inhale, we are wired to access the sympathetic nervous system, ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. This bad boy has evolved to help us notice in a very special way. Vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, which is quite antithetical to the rigidity and controlling tendencies inherent in concentration. But what have we evolved to notice? We have evolved to notice perceptions, such as seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like. We have also evolved to notice the full spectrum of human. Emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. If this mindfulness is the natural function of our sympathetic nervous system, then why do we sit down every 12 hours or so to formally practice? Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this or the verb noticing during our inhalation, we interrupt the habit of our clever cerebral cortex to compete against our sympathetic nervous system, and instead set space for these two to cooperate. But what are we to do with all that we notice? With each inhalation, we are wired to notice all manner of thing, from the internal to the external, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. What are we to do with all this stuff? Meditate. So come, let us explore the neuroscience of meditation. Each time we exhale, we are wired to effortlessly and automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system, which is divided between the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord we mentioned previously. This parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to support our physical relaxation and mental release of that which we noticed during our previous inhalation, to the point that that which we noticed could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Now, any good English teacher could remind us that a simile is only as effective as it is relatable. Thus, we have to ask the question, what is the real-world example of a non-graspable, vast empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although compelling to the eye, is non-graspable to the hand? Thus, we could see emptiness only makes sense when seen through a flexible worldview that accepts that not all statements are literal, requiring blind faith or pseudo-intellectual mental gymnastics. For some of us, sitting in mindfulness and meditation for about an hour twice daily is absolutely no problem. However, some of us could require a more gradual or hedonistic approach. Thus, sitting in mindfulness for about 5 minutes every 12 hours or so could be a good start. The second week, that could be lengthened to 10 minutes every 12 hours. The third week, that could be lengthened to 15 minutes every 12 hours. Over the course of 12 weeks, one could thusly condition one's body to sit for an hour every 12 hours or so. Over the course of 12 weeks, one could progress by an additional 5 minutes, and thusly condition one's body and mind to sit for an hour every 12 hours or so. One of the benefits of this incremental approach is that it could give our body, mind, partner, pets, children, and schedule an opportunity to gently acclimate to this lifestyle change. One might ask if this relaxing and releasing is the natural behavior of our parasympathetic nervous system, then why bother sitting in mindfulness and meditation every 12 hours or so? Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verbies or the multisyllabic verb relaxing during our exhalation, we are interrupting the habit of our clever cerebral cortex to actively compete against our parasympathetic nervous system. Instead, open space for these two to cooperate in a delightfully therapeutic manner. This is why the Buddha taught mindfulness and meditation. Having completed our opening lesson, it's time to shift gears. Good morning, Shivi. It is Obi-Wan Kenobi Wednesday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I harnessed my autistic special interests and my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I could become your nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. So now we make our way to the latest practice text, let's see what to do. Well, I'm going to tap the Word document. That'll give me opportunity to navigate. Whoopsie. There we go. Together let us relaxingly recite. Whatever comes, may all beings notice, relax, and flow. Whatever stays, may all beings notice, relax, and flow. Whatever goes, may all beings notice, relax, and flow. We could touch the tip of our left, let's try this again, upon the tip of our left index finger. We could rest the great knuckle of our right index finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the crown region of our head. The most efficient way to practice mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the verb noticing during each inhalation. The most efficient way to practice meditation is to silently and mentally recite the verb relaxing during each exhalation. Now remember, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist recitation, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, simply type your question, or I should say, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Together, let us practice right now. Good morning and welcome to the live stream. I'm going to take a moment to switch texts. Together, let us relaxingly recite an excerpt from the vast expanse of the diamond-like mind, composed approximately 1400 years ago by Prahevajara, translated from the Tibetan by Chogyal Namkhai Norbu, translated from the Italian by Adriano Clemente, adapted and amplified by yours truly. Together, let's relaxingly recite. Pointing the expression gate to the subtle, they seek the path by isolating the mind. Maintaining isolation in a secluded place. If we examine well, this is the folly of conceptual meditation. So what I'm going to do, quick like a bunny, is rearrange that. Pointing the expression gate to the subtle, they seek the path by isolating the mind, maintaining isolation in a secluded place. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, but no, not in the fun, tingly way. What could that suckiness look like? It could look like most cultures conditioning most people to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, cryptic, elitist, competitive, and cruel. It comes as little surprise when these people get it in their heads, or when people under the thrall of Yang's religious patriarchy get it into their head to practice meditation, what they wind up practicing is focus and analysis, which might also be described as concentration and contemplation. They feel that thoughts are their enemy, and so they try to separate themselves from the thoughts, repressing their thoughts, isolating themselves from external stimuli, sometimes living in a cave, isolated from anybody else for stretches of time. The author is saying, if we examine this well, this is the folly of conceptual meditation. So, he's not speaking literally, but figuratively, using the term conceptual meditation as an insult and an inference of missing the forest for the trees. You see, as we've already explored during this morning's opening lesson, mindfulness is all about noticing vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. Noticing not only our sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, and scents, but also the full spectrum of emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. And by so indulging our rigidity and our controlling tendencies that we try to isolate ourselves from that, we're turning our back on the Buddha's teachings. For not only is mindfulness the eightfold of the Eightfold Path, but it's the first enlightenment factor. When we substitute mindfulness for mind blanking, we have gone off the rails. Now, we do not follow the Buddha's teachings out of blind faith. I've studied meditation techniques of many schools. I apply the Buddha's teachings because I found them to be the most effective in the metaphoric laboratory of my body and mind. I like the results I get. I think you will too. Let's continue relaxingly reciting. Pointing the expression gate to the subtle, they seek the path by isolating the mind, maintaining isolation in a secluded place. If we examine well, this is the folly of conceptual meditation. Honing the expression, gate to the subtle, they seek the path by isolating the mind, maintaining isolation in a secluded place. If we examine well, this is the folly of conceptual meditation. This is the last repetition. Coining the expression, gate to the subtle, they seek the path by isolating the mind, maintaining isolation in a secluded place. If we examine well, this is the folly of conceptual meditation. What we could do now is upon the tip of our left middle finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the heart area of our chest. The most efficient way to practice mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the verb noticing during each inhalation. And the most efficient way to practice meditation is to silently and mentally recite the verb relaxing during each exhalation. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist recitation, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Together, let us practice right now. Together, let us relaxingly recite. They coined the terms cause and effect. So both times we see the word coining, don't we? They coined the terms cause and effect, but both virtues and negativities dissolve completely. They say we will get out of this world and dualistically nurture supreme complacency by accepting and rejecting. They coined the terms cause and effect, but both virtues and negativities dissolve completely. Yes, as we relax into our exhalation, whatever causes we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less graspable. Similarly, as we relax into our exhalation, whatever effects we might have noticed during our previous inhalation too could feel less graspable. And so we see that as we relax into our exhalation, both causes and effects share the same taste of non-graspability. Together, they say we will get out of this world and dualistically nurture supreme complacency by accepting and rejecting. You see, my friends, according to the Buddha, the fundamental duality is not us and them or up and down, but simply pushing or pulling, dreading or desiring, rejecting or accepting. And so what we're told to do is this. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever dread we perceive during our inhalation could feel less graspable. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever desire we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less graspable. As we relax into our exhalation, both the apparent opposites of accepting and rejecting that we perceived during our previous inhalation could share the same non-graspable nature. Now you could say, wait, with all this talk of non-duality, what about knowing wrong from right, good from bad? Simple. The more we practice mindfulness and meditation, the more we stimulate our anterior cingulate gyrus, the seat of empathy, the root of compassion and love. So the fringe benefit of the authentic practice of mindfulness and meditation is love. Love comprises 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path and correlates perfectly with the four bases of mindfulness: mind's loving intention, the interpersonal loving communication, physical loving conduct, and circumstantial loving commerce. Therefore, the more we practice mindfulness and meditation, the more we will find that our choices, utterances, and deeds flow from love's effortless effort of centered spontaneity, which is the highest love. Let's continue. They coined the terms cause and effect, but both virtues and negativities dissolve completely. They say we will get out of this world and dualistically nurture supreme complacency by accepting and rejecting. They coined the terms cause and effect, but both virtues and negativities dissolve completely. They say we will get out of this world. I think there was a song in the 60s by the Animals. We got to get out of this place. They say we will get out of this world and dualistically nurture supreme complacency by accepting and rejecting. Upon the tip of our left ring finger, we could rest the great knuckle found at the base of our right ring finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so, we could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the navel region of our mid-abdomen. What is the most efficient way to practice mindfulness? To silently and mentally recite the verb noticing during each inhalation. What is the most efficient way to practice meditation? To silently and mentally recite the verb relaxing during each exhalation. And remember, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist recitation, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. And if you've just tuned in, welcome to the live stream. We come to the final recitation of this morning's live stream, so let's make the most of it. Together, let us relaxingly recite. Attachment and non-attachment are the path of words, and the same is something in the middle, like an echo. Happiness and suffering have the same cause, according to the boss-like dynamism of beings, Vajra, diamond-like strength of a well-trained sattva mind. That's a mouthful. Vajra sattva is an archetype of enlightenment. There are many. Those who are rigid tend to view him as a literal entity, and they tend to worship and pray and stuff and make offerings. Those who are flexible view an archetype as simply a set of symbols that remind us of the Buddha's teachings. The name Vajra, or diamond, reminds us of the strength of a well-trained mind. Sattva just means mind. How do we train our mind? By cooperating with our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems in such a way that during each inhalation we notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. And during each exhalation we physically relax and mentally release. That's it. According to the Buddha, that's all it takes to master his path in as little as 7 days. Let's continue. Attachment and non-attachment are just the path of words, and the same is something in the middle, like an echo. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever attachment we notice during our inhalation could feel as non-graspable as an echo. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever non-attachment we might have noticed during our previous inhalation can feel as non-graspable as an echo. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever midpoint between attachment and non-attachment we might have noticed during our previous inhalation can feel as non-graspable as an echo. Together, happiness and suffering have the same cause, according to the boss-like dynamism of beings, Vajra, diamond-like strength of a well-trained sattva mind. What is this dynamism? Well, it could be summarized by the two truths popularized by the South Indian Buddhist philosopher, I got a knot in my hair, Nagarjuna. There we go. So he taught of the conventional and the ultimate. So to paraphrase the late Dzogchen Rinpoche, we could think of it this way. All sights could be seen, yet non-graspable. All sounds could be heard, yet non-graspable. All sensations could be felt, yet non-graspable. All flavors could be tasted, yet non-graspable. All scents could be smelled, yet non-graspable. That's the dynamism of noticing and relaxing. Back in the 60s and also in the 2000 teens, boss or like a boss was a popular turn of phrase. Ostensibly, it was also a popular turn of phrase in some circles 14 centuries ago. In the paraphrase, good old Shirley Bassey, it's a little bit of history repeating itself. Let's continue. Attachment and non-attachment are just the path of words, and the same is something in the middle, like an echo. Happiness and suffering have the same cause according to the boss-like dynamism of beings. Vajra, diamond-like strength of a well-trained sattva mind. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What is the same cause shared by happiness and suffering? Sentience. Whatever happiness or suffering, so as we relax into our exhalation, whatever happiness or sadness we noticed during our previous inhalation could simply be emotion. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever kindness or cruelty we perceived in our heart during our inhalation could be just intention. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever sharpness or dullness we noticed during our previous inhalation could be just cognition. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever happy or sad memories, whatever sharp or blurry memories, whatever accurate or inaccurate memories we might have recalled or confabulated during our previous inhalation, are just memories. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we imagined, be it external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, glorious or grotesque, could be just elements of our imagination. We're not denying they exist, but we're simply taking them out of the little teeny category and putting them into a larger category, if that makes sense. It's like sitting down, it's like going to a Japanese restaurant for lunch and being given a bento box. A great big box, sometimes 18 inches by 24 inches, full of little teeny cubby holes of delicious morsels reminiscent of Spanish tapas. So it's like taking that bento box and turning it upside down, probably to the horror of the chef who worked so hard to arrange it, just dumping it out into a big pile and just calling it food. It's still food, but we're just taking a break from all the exhausting habit of distinctions and labels. That doesn't mean we are oblivious to them. It just means that we relax our grasp upon them as we exhale. Final repetition, let's make it count. Attachment and non-attachment are just the path of words, and the same as is something in the middle, like an echo. Happiness and suffering have the same cause, according to the boss-like dynamism of beings, a Vajra diamond-like strength of a well-trained sattva mind. Upon the tip of our left little finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the bladder region of our lower abdomen. Remember, forgive me for insulting your intellect, but remember the essence of mindfulness is to be had by silently and mentally reciting the verb noticing during each inhalation. The essence of meditation can be experienced by silently and mentally reciting the verb relaxing during each exhalation. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 9 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.